Today, I am heading out to fish a lake in Lewis County. Let's head there and hike back in about 3/4 of a mile and see if we can't catch a trout, maybe some crappie, maybe even a bass. If you are not subscribed yet, please do so. I would appreciate it. And let's head out there and let's go see if we can catch some fish. This place has a lot of trout. They stock it every year with, I think last year they stocked it between March and June, April, May, no, between March and May. I think they stocked it with almost 20,000 trout. But there's largemouth bass, there's catfish, there's bluegill, there's crappie. So there are a lot of different species to be had here. I'll be honest with you, I have not been here this time of the year. I usually come here during the summertime when the water's really low, or much lower I should say. And so we're gonna see what we can do here. But I know there's a lot of fish in this little pond. And if that is a giveaway to where I'm at, good for you. I'll tell you at the end of the video where I'm at. I'll tell you the name of it. But you've got to watch. And you've got to subscribe. Or else you won't know. Nah, just kidding. But I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. This is part of the Cowlitz Wildlife Management Area. GMU 520. It's actually closed to hunting late archery deer. Late archery deer closed here on the 15th because it's GMU 520, Game Management Unit 520. I was going to bring my bow because I still need to fill my deer tag, but this area is closed. On the other side of the street, on the other side of the road over there, it's open, and that's area 505. But enough talking, let's get going. Boy, now you know why that little lake is so full of water. Wow. Okay, onward. Supposed to be a 45% chance of rain today. I think it's more like 100. We're here at the first spot. We're only maybe a half a mile in, and let's go ahead and give this a try, okay? The lake is really full. So it makes it a little bit easier to get some bank access, because when it's down, like it normally is during the summer, it's really far out there and it's hard to get any bank access, you know, for fishing spots anyway. So let's see if we can do this. I was gonna wear my waders, probably should have. And unbelievable, you know, you've got a place here that you can fish and people are leaving garbage everywhere. God, you know, people suck. I hate to say that, but you know, it really irritates me. You got a beautiful, beautiful lake like this, and then you got things like this. Look at that. Unbelievable. Well, actually, it's not unbelievable. I'll pick them up on the way out, but still, come on, people. The first thing we're gonna do, get into this bag here, and I just put together some stuff from my tackle box. I'm looking for these guys right here, these baby shad monkey milk. How can you refuse that if you're a fish? I mean, look at that fish. I mean, he's got to eat that stuff. Let's try it. Okay, so we want one of these. I only have 4 of them in here. As you can tell, I use these a lot. Fish here like them. I'll show you what I got here. It's just a little jig head, little green jig head. I'm gonna take this old one off here. This has been on there for a year. I'll put it in the bag. Put this new one on here. So you you rig these just like you do any soft plastic for bass fishing. In through there. And what I do is I go all the way as far as you think you need to go, and then give it a twist. Oh, so there you go. There you have it. Little jig. Just like that. Now, I'll show you. This is my crappie setup, but this actually works for bass. And works for trout too, if the trout are hanging around here. But I set this up the same way I do my salmon float rod. Almost the same. Okay, so we have the jig here, so we don't need any weight. Then we have this is about a 14 to 16 inch leader, 6-pound test, to a swivel, and then a small, I don't even know what size this is, but it's a small float. And then we have a bead and a bobber stopper, just like I do with my salmon setup. And if you've seen my other videos, you can see how I set up my salmon and steelhead float rod. But this is exactly the same. That way I can adjust the depth of this guy right here. So, right now I have it set really shallow. Let's see if there's any crappie out there that want this thing. Now the thing is with the water, now I know this lake really well because I fish it in the summertime for crappie, bass, and trout from my boat. Not my sled, but my lake boat. And so I know that the weed bed goes way out there. So when the lake gets down during the summertime, there's weeds all the way out there going 100 yards. And so it makes for a lot of good crappie ground and bass ground, but it is hard to fish during the summertime when the weeds are out there. But at least you get a better idea of where things are. There's something frolicking out there. It's not ducks. I wonder if it's a beaver. Could be a beaver. I'm gonna let that sit there for a minute and slowly bring it in. Now, I already made a few test casts to see the depth, so I don't think we're gonna be hanging up until we get about another 10 feet in this direction, you know, closer. Yeah, that's gotta be a beaver. You probably can't see them. Yeah, it looks like 2 beavers. Make another cast. Get the weeds off of there. We'll fish this spot for a few casts and then we'll head down. And I can pretty much guarantee that there will not be any other people out here today. Oh no. Oh no. Tangle. Tangle. There we go. Okay, bring it in a few inches. Let it sit there for 30 seconds or so. Bring it in another few inches. Let it sit there, and I'll just keep doing that over and over and over again in a few different spots. Rinse and repeat. Okay, so while I'm waiting for my jig to catch something from the bank, I'm going to toss out my other rod here. Now what I've got here is a bait caster, 7-foot rod. It's heavy action, 40-pound test braid. And this one here I've got set up with a mop jig. This is a 1/2 ounce weedless mop jig. I'm going to toss this around here for some bass that might be hanging around the, hanging around these weeds right here. I mean, hey, bass got to eat this time of the year too, right? This lake qualifies for the 2-pole endorsement. And later on at the end of the video, I'll tell you exactly where I am. You can come out here during the summertime and enjoy some of these bass. But the only thing that I would ask you is, I mean, this is totally up to you. You know, it's a free country. But if you're gonna fish here, it's a small lake. And if you're gonna fish here for bass, and if you catch a nice bass, could you release it? Let it grow. I mean, seriously. But you don't have to if you don't want to. It's up to you. But, you know, I do. I've caught 4 or 5 pound bass out of this thing and release them. And people think I'm crazy. But, you know, that's how they get to be 4 or 5 pounds. And I do eat bass. Bass do taste good. Bass do taste good. Who talks like that? Good grief, Gene. Okay, something else I want to do with this bad boy here. Let me see if I can. Oh, I let my secret out. I put a worm on a piece of night crawler, and into that jig. Okay, what are we doing here? I want to put not that. Oh, right there. Oh, I only have one, a crawdad. Look at that bad boy. I mean, if you're a fish, you can't resist that. We're going to put this on this mop jig. This is a salted yum crawdad. Close that up. And we were going to rig this up. Oh, where'd he go? There we go. I get to the hook because it's weedless. First of all, you got to get to the hook. And we want this thing to be laying in, because this jig lands on the bottom like this. So you don't want this thing up this way, because then, you know, what kind of a crawfish lays belly up unless you're dead? So it has to be this way. So this is the way you want the hook to go through it. I'm going to run it in here. Okay, there we go. There we go. So then it lays in there nice and flat, just like that. So this thing is going to be bouncing along the bottom, just like that. Irresistible to any respectable bass. And I see that my float out there still hasn't done anything. Could have swore I just seen a little ring form around my float. But of course it's very difficult to see it. Oh boy, hold on. Oh my God, look at this stuff. What's wrong with people? Okay, let me see. Bring it in just a few inches. Well, obviously it wasn't a wasn't a fish. I'll just set that back down. Make a couple more casts on this with this thing and we'll move. Get this thing out there where it's a little deeper. Maybe get down to the bottom. I mean, if you're a bass or a trout or a crappie, bluegill, you've got to eat, right? No matter what time of the year it is. You see a big fat jig with a worm on it, or a, you know, crawdad, you're gonna bite it. You can... Oh no, that's supposed to be weedies. There we go. Okay. Oh no. Doesn't appear that I don't want to lose that jig. Hopefully I can bring that tree in. God dang it. I know, I see, this is one of the reasons why wearing my waders would have been really nice. Oh, thank you for coming off of there. Thank you for coming off there. I don't want to lose a $7 jig. Okay, I'm gonna hang this up for a second. Let's get back to this float. Now I want to get this float over where I was, what was that? I want to get this float and this jig tipped with this little piece of worm. Here, tipped with this little piece of worm. I want to get this out there where I was casting that that jig, that mop jig. But I don't know if I can get out that far. Pretty close. I know it's deeper out there. Okay, let's move to a different spot. A little slick, but not bad. Well, it looks like there might be a good fishing spot down here. Let's go find out. It's right in between them. Right off this spot here. Let me get the float set up out there and get that going. Then I'll toss around the bass jig. Well, luckily, I'm already set. I just got to figure out a way to cast. All these trees. Somebody put all these trees in my way. Well, let's see what we can do here. Maybe kind of an underhand, backhand cast like that. Ooh, it's not exactly where I wanted to go, but it might work. I don't know where the fish are. We have to find them. But it doesn't look like this is a really weedy area right here. So we might be in good shape. I've got my float out there with a worm on it. And what I was saying earlier is that this lake, you know, you can do good on this lake with something that's tipped. Even when I'm trolling for trout, you know, whether it's a spoon or a spinner, using pop gear or a flasher, I always tip my lure, you know, with a worm or a maggot or corn or something like that. Fish like it. Who am I to argue with what they like? So I try to give them what they like. That's why there's a worm on that thing out there. Oh, bounced it right off that log. Now hopefully there's no limbs or I'm gonna get hung on. Mr. Bass has to eat, right? Mr. Crappie has to eat. Oh no. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Uh-oh, look what I did. My hook is a little bent the wrong direction. Luckily I brought a pair of pliers for just such an occasion. Straighten my hook out just a little bit. Put the right bend back in her. There we go. Crawdad's still looking good. Float's still out there floating around with the worm. And anything I catch today, I'm not going to take home anyway, unless it's a good white crappie. Good sized white crappie, I might take it home. I like that white meat of that crappie. The bluegills are okay if they're good size. But if I catch just one fish, I'm not going to take it home. What good is that going to do me? I'll release it and let it get bigger. Catch it this summer. Whoa. Oh no. That went down there and just got stuck. I mean, immediately. Like, no question about it. Oh, shoot. Shoot. I don't like that at all. Darn it. I didn't want that to happen, but that's what's going to happen when you get out there and you get stuck like that. Shoot. Nothing in this spot here. So let's keep moving on down the way here. We just keep hitting, we just keep hitting these spots as we go. We're bound to find a fish someplace, right? Look at that. You guys know what that is, right? Ooh, it's fairly fresh too. You accidentally step in the wrong place. Next thing you know, you're up to your knees. Oh. Almost lost my shoe. Gotta be some fish in here somewhere. It stopped raining. And, well, no it didn't. It's still raining a little bit. But I'm thinking there's gotta be some fish in this spot. Has anybody guessed where I'm at yet? Well, I am back here as far as I can go. Almost to the other side of the lake from where I started. Believe it or not, there's a house down there right at the end of the lake. What an awesome place to have. But no fish, lots of rain, and hey, that's fishing, isn't it? Sometimes you catch fish and sometimes you don't. So I'm gonna head back now. What I have to do is I have to head that direction along the bank for probably, I don't know, quite a ways, because I came down off the trail and I've been fishing along the lakeside the whole entire time. So I don't want to head up that way and go that way because I don't know, the trail's up there, I'm sure, but I don't want to bust through the brush with my rods and everything. Here's the spot where we go up, back up to the trail. Sayonara, Mr. Lake. Now we just have to hike out. Okay, so just in case you did not figure out where I am at Swofford Pond. Let me show you where I'm at here. Okay, this is Mayfield Lake, Highway 12, here to Mossy Rock Park, but you don't go to Mossy Rock Park, you go down here to Swofford Pond, and that's exactly where I am, right there, Swofford Pond. Don't let my no fish catching excursion discourage you from coming out here, because this place actually has catfish, bluegill, crappie, largemouth bass, trout. They stocked probably 20,000 trout in here between March and May of 2022, and they do that every year. So it's a great place to bring your kids. It's a great place to come and fish. No internal combustion motors allowed on this lake, so it's a quiet lake, and it's a fun lake. Even though I didn't catch any fish today, come check it out. Lewis County, Swofford Pond. Until next time, maybe we'll catch some fish next time. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to ask, go ahead and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Until next time. I'm gonna get in the truck and turn the heat on.